Nutters. It's your boy Marcus, back in our building, and today we are going to be speaking with T.Marie from the Barely Adulting podcast. Check her out. She just oozes charisma, and that is at barelyadulting.buzzsprout.com, and you can check her out on Instagram at barelyadulting pod on Instagram, Barely Adulting pod on Instagram. So let's go ahead and do a deep dive on what it takes to be a podcaster and what her experience has been so far. Coming up next. All right, Mixed Nutters, we here today with Tia from Barely Adulting podcast. She's gonna tell us about podcasting and just get us up to date with it and how she got into it.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Tia again, Barely Adulting podcast, and I'm from Chicago, if that matters. And yeah, so podcasting. I actually wanted to do podcasting for a long time, honestly. I've always been very opinionated and a talker. So after I got into the podcasting world of just like listening to different ones, I told myself, you know what, I want to do it. But I kept pushing it off because I actually wanted to do it with someone else. Like I didn't want to do it solo at all. Like that was never the goal. But I guess later last year or so, I just thought about it and I'm like, look, if I don't do it for myself, it's not going to get done.
Well, you ain't never mind.
And I don't think anybody will have the same drive,
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what I did. Instead of waiting on other people, I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and buy this mic. And if I buy this mic and I get it, that's it. So the mic came in from Amazon and, I had the 2-day shipping.
Good old Prime.
Exactly. So when it came in, I said, look, here you go. We're going to do it. So I believe it was November that I started getting together, or November, October. And it took me a minute just to get the name. It took a long time just to get that together. And because it was very basic at first. It was like brown sugar or something like that. I'm like, that is too basic. I don't want that. That's like everybody. So meditated, prayed on it, and finally came to me because it's like one of the sayings I say all the time, right? Because we all barely adult out here. Let's be real.
Yeah, you know.
So on my birthday is actually December 10th. I dropped my first, I guess, intro, you can call it, trailer. And
this past December?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very new in the game, right? And I believe I dropped the trailer, or it was like the first episode. Can't remember right now, but that's how I got started in it. And it's actually like an interviewing type of podcast. So I bring different people on the show, and I've been doing it since then. And I just dropped the last episode actually Tuesday. Typically I drop every Sunday. And that's the last episode of the season 1. So I'm super excited about that I got through it all. So yeah.
What? So let me ask you, how do you pick your topics as far as like what you want to talk about? Is it just like things you're seeing in the news or things you've been thinking about, or how do you do that?
So that time frame where I was sitting there talking about how I picked the name first, I actually sat down and wrote out close to 100 different topics in one sitting if I can, or if it comes to me, I just type it up on a Microsoft Word document, and whatever came to mind, I just put it on a document page. So that's basically how I got the topics. It could go as far as politics to medieval literature type of stuff, because I'm really into that. Like I'm nerdy like that, right? To relationships, because that's always a big topic for people. It's like one of those hot topics anyway. So if someone actually says something in conversation, I will write that down like, oh, that's a great topic. So even there. So yeah, I actually started off with at least a good 85 topics just to start off with. And that was basically giving me enough juice to go throughout the entire year. So yeah, that's basically how I started off. It could just range from anywhere, and I just narrowed it down. So anything that kind of like overlaps, I put it together and actually made it like that. But with my podcasting interviews, it does not go as planned. I'm pretty sure you know that as well.
Oh, it never does. It gets, I mean, especially if you're trying to be organic and you're not, because I've listened. It's very organic. I thought you were doing it for way longer, so you really are good at it, for real. You know, and I can tell you talk about stuff you actually do care about. You know what I mean? And like you're not just straight over here like Derek Jackson. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
He a trip, but you know.
Yeah, speaking in third person and stuff all the time. You know.
That when I tell you that was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time, though, it's like narcissistic, yes, but that was hilarious. I don't know about everybody else.
It's so insane. I ain't never dated nobody that would allow me to be always in third person.
Look,
I got not one time.
Look, it was so funny to me because I see comedy out of everything. Like that's just my personality. Like I will sit there and make a joke out of it if I can. So me just watching that, I'm like, what was going through his head to say, yes, this is how I'm going to approach the situation.
Because you know when you've been crazy for that long, man.
Oh yeah.
And everybody been kind of like eating it up a little bit. You had some success with your crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to just turn it off. You think you can still pull this thing around? It's like, I don't know, bro. You might want to do something else.
But I guess he got a couple people though. I would say he still has a couple people holding on to their life. But
it's always gonna be somebody drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, of course. They always a little thirsty. Just in the throat, just a little bit.
That just oof. Man, I'm sorry. I got off track because I was just like, that just reminded me of that. I don't know what was that. So, you know, I'm originally from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I started doing YouTube stuff.
Okay.
And actually like late September, just past September, because, you know, pandemic and you be watching the crib. Mm-hmm. So I was like kind of want to do it with somebody. But, you know, if you wait on people, bro, ain't nobody ready to commit, man.
No, you're going to be forever waiting. And that's how it was with me when it came to the podcasting game. Like I was waiting for a good year or so just to make sure that I find somebody who's just as committed or just as wanting this as I was. And I didn't find that. And, you know, you always have to find the perfect partner, too. Everybody can't deal with stuff, you know?
No, I mean, especially when you're talking about, you know, as soon as that record hit, people get weird.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because it's like a mic is in front of you and all of a sudden, you know, you freeze up or you start talking gibberish. And I'm just like, hold on, calm down. Like, just pretend it's not there.
Man, try throwing a camera in there and you be like, the first time, my first video, it was like, I felt the camera judging me. I was like, why my head so big? I was like, I don't remember my head being this big. I don't know what's happening. Like, you know, it's really distracting, but like, you do got to just go for it though, man, because I mean, there's no reason to wait. You know what I mean? There really is no reason to wait. And I mean, for you to start this in December and already be about to start working on season 2, that's fantastic, bro.
Thank you.
Have you uploaded your stuff to? I see you got a bunch of. You know, tell everybody where you can, you know, listen to your podcast.
So I'm actually on like every major platform. So BuzzFeed, iHeartRadio. I'm on Pandora. What is it? Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. And I know you were kind of hinting at that. I'm not putting any video up yet. I'm kind of waiting that out because I wanted to be the authentic podcast where you're just hearing my voice versus like seeing my face.
Some people upload their podcast too.
Yeah, they do. And I think I'm going to wait on it for a little while longer before I do that because I'm a solo podcaster and I'm a solo team. Like it's just me. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you know about the editing process and doing everything else, right? So I want to keep it as minimal as possible as of right now because like I said, I don't have a team editing. I'm doing that. I don't have a team doing social media. I'm doing that. And it takes up so much time in my day just to get it together, plus working a full-time job, plus doing this and plus doing that. So as of right now, I know that just adding on the YouTube portion with the video itself would be a little bit much for me, right? And that's going to be another kind of like add on to the editing and trying to get this right and try to get that right. And, you know, some people don't like to be recorded and everything else. So I figured that if I just wait a little bit on it until I'm like well established, I should be okay to do YouTube later. But I am just doing the recording for it.
But you know, you could just put up just the audio and
Yeah.
just
No, I
have.
have that.
Yeah. Okay. So you do that.
Yeah, I have the audio, so just the pictures alone is not the audio. Yes, I have to like catch up on the audio. I'm not gonna lie, because that takes some time too. But yeah, I definitely got the audio up now.
Definitely want to do that, just because. Not trying to like force you over to YouTube, but just because it'll be a whole bunch of people already. You know, you already have a bunch of videos with people watching, and so when you do start doing that, it'll be a much bigger reception. Just because you already kind of building a base, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. And I definitely hear it. It's just so much going into it, but I'm so dedicated, so it doesn't even matter to me. I'm like, if I can get it out there, I'm pretty much good.
And what have you know? Do you have any stories where anybody tried to naysay or try to talk you out of it, or?
Do I have stories? I don't think anyone has ever just said, no, Tia, you can't do this. Because I feel like the people that know me especially well, even if they don't know me well enough, but they know me, they know I'm gonna do whatever I said I'm going to do. If I put my mind to it, that's it. There's no turning around, no backing out of it. You ask my parents, you can ask them right now, like if Tia says she's gonna do something, there's no talking her out of it. So even then, it's like I've said before, I'm very opinionated. I like to start conversations. I was an English major in college. Like I love dialogue. So it's kind of like right under my belt for me. It actually works for me because I like to have those conversations, especially those tough conversations. I've had podcasts about dating with HIV. I feel like that was one of my top ones because who really talks about that?
Yeah, I don't even know how that go.
Exactly.
Like,
And you know what's crazy about that one in general, that's one of my favorite episodes that I recorded. And the reason or how I got into that anyway, I was on, what's that app, that new app that everyone's on now? Clubhouse.
Yeah.
That one. So I was on Clubhouse, but I wasn't technically on it at the time. You know how the notifications come through?
Yeah.
And you accidentally press it? Yeah, so I did that to one of the rooms. And the actual room was called Dating with HIV. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to stay in this, but when I jumped in, it was only one other person in there and it was the host. So I felt obligated to stay a little while. I'm like, okay, maybe I do have to.
Yeah, just show a little love. I mean,
because, she was, I kind of knew her, but didn't know her. But I'm like, okay, let me just stay a little bit, and see what's going on. Some other people started falling in. It was not a big group at all. It was like fairly small. And I was like, you know what? Let me actually stay and see what they talking about in here. So as the conversation was going and dialogue came in, we had allies and people who have HIV or different transmitted diseases and things of that nature, people that knew somebody who did, and they were talking about their experiences and everything else. And I was just so intrigued. I'm sitting there raising my hand like, yeah, what about this? And what about that? And I'm just questioning it. And after a while, I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to somebody in this group because I really want to know more. And I'm pretty sure this is a topic that people do not talk about at all, right? So I reached out to two people. One person, she was really nice, but I don't think she wants to actually go into the podcasting world, And
yeah.
But the second person, oh my God, I love her so much. Like first time I actually sat down with somebody that I didn't know. So this is like my 5th episode in. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. She's from Philly, across the country. Like, oh my God, okay, I'm ready. So when we actually had the conversation, it was so organic and she was so knowledgeable about everything. And of course she has to be because she has this, that's her life, right? And what struck me about her story was the fact that she had HIV. She had a child. She has herpes. And when I say has, as in it's a continuing thing. It doesn't go away. It's permanent. So having that conversation and how she contracted the diseases and how she's living her life, like it's golden basically. And me still following her story until today, like I still follow her on Instagram and check up on her and things of that nature. So it's like, man, that just changed my whole perspective. And I felt like that would be good for the audience to hear too. Because if I'm feeling like this, maybe somebody else is. So just bringing that dialogue to the people. But yeah.
So is that like how you so you say you're getting a lot from podcasts and just talking to different people and experiencing different things, and you know what I mean? Because that's not something you would just walk into like too normally. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that would even come up probably. So would you feel like it's like broadening your horizons, or like you learning more about the world?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I've always been a very open person. So that's why it's kind of like easy for me to have those conversations, right? But I guess my main purpose is to make sure that that conversation comes to people that typically don't have that conversation either. So yeah, it has broadened my horizon. I've brought people on that just speaks on different topics that I have no knowledge of. Maybe I have a little bit on, but I want to know a little bit more about it. But all the topics is basically about adulting in some sense, in some way. So I know we are all doing it and we're barely making it because no one's really winning at this thing called life. So why not have those conversations, especially those hard conversations? And yeah, that's basically how it's been going.
Because they have not been teaching. They did not teach us in school.
No.
Like look, man, by the time I got to college, there was stuff where I was like, what is this about? I was like, you had me figuring out what X is.
Yeah.
I was like, what are all these new taxes and like deposits and like?
And isn't it terrible though? Because
I ain't know nothing about that.
We're literally not being taught this stuff. Like we should be knowing how to file our taxes, like taught about that, or how to invest in stocks and things of that nature. But or even fixing a car, they're trying to take that away, and every other trade there is. So if we actually had those abilities, or if they kept it in the schools, I feel like we'll be a better society in some form, especially the Black community.
You be a real adult, because you see a lot of people that was like got a lot of good grades in school, but like as a functional adult, they pretty dumb.
It's not.
They pretty dumb. They're just walking around. You're like, why would you do that? What's going on? Like I don't even have to. Even drunk, that's a bad idea. But for them, super complicated.
Yeah, and I've learned at a young age, common sense ain't common to everybody. So, and I feel like the older you get, the more that kind of dwindles, and I'm just like, it's kind of sad, honestly.
And every time I get a little bit older, I get like I can tell my patience for the stupidity goes way down. Like every year, it'd be like, happy birthday, and I drop like 10%. I'd be like, sometimes I just see the look on somebody's face and be like, nah, we about to be on the news. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but they need to teach stuff in schools where I think like the Barely Adult podcast is good, is because you talk about topics, because first off, not everybody parents even talk to them about like anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like about like something real. They just send their kid to school and be like, learn stuff, but they don't like tell them how the world really works.
Yeah, and they're still doing that to this day, where parents, or some parents, I'm not gonna say all, because everyone's a little sensitive about everything nowadays. Some parents feel like their teachers should be teaching the child everything, especially in this pandemic. And a lot of parents were kind of hit with like, oh, my kid really is bad, not this angel that I predicted.
Why'd you think that?
I mean, I'm saying, and a lot of them will say, I love my, I know my son, I know my daughter, they would never do that. And then you actually get them all day because everyone is sitting at home.
I never had these kind of parents. Like my mom could hear something and be like, Marcus didn't do that. And then she could hear something and be like, yeah, he probably did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that. So she'd call it right there. Yeah. But I was never just like automatically innocent though.
Oh, that is also true. Like I know
we had to investigate.
It's been several times where I was never a bad child. Let's just put it out there. I don't think I was, but I've always questioned So, being a questioning child, or, it's always like, oh, you're bad because of that, or you talk back. No, I just want to know what I'm doing. That's all it is. However, I know it was this one time I got into some type of, whatever, while I was in high school. It's probably my senior year. And we were visiting this community college where I was getting all the AP credits and things of that nature, right? They pushed me in it. I didn't want to be in it. It was all like science and math stuff. I'm English. I ain't care for none of that, but they still pushed me in there. They tried to accuse me of being disrespectful and going off on somebody and all this, right? My parents heard this and they was like, no, this ain't it. Like, this is not Tia. She does not do that. So they basically cussed them out. And I was just sitting there smiling in the corner like, yeah, they had my back.
Like, boom. But
yeah.
See, that's like a special circumstance. And some of these kids got that going all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you like, you don't know your kid? Like, he definitely did that. You ever hear a parent be like, that's all he do, is stuff like that. Like, how do you not know this?
I was a student teaching at some point because I was going to be a teacher and all that, but I just kind of like did that a long time ago. I was like, no, we're not doing this. And it was a recurring problem for some students, and other students, it was just like, we would know the student more than the parents at times because we spend all day with them. It's kind of a difference where you're spending like 8 to almost 12 hours because if you have after school activities with a person, versus like the 6 hours you're at home, because 3 of them you're doing homework, eating, and then the other 3 you're probably asleep or something like that. Probably another 2 you're getting ready for school. You're not really doing much. That's a little weird type of scenario with the hours, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
No one's sleeping for 3 hours.
But I got you. But I still feel like you should, even if you don't like with your kids like all hours of the day,
right?
Like but by the time they get to school and stuff, you should at least know their temperament and kind of personality.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't just be like completely in the dark. Because sometimes, you see these kids that go crazy on the news or something, and you like, your kid had problems before that day.
Yeah.
Like, he was being mad weird before that. Like, you know what I mean? It's very rare for somebody to just straight up snap.
Right. It's always
no warning.
And I think it's one of those situations where it's being pushed under the rug, or that child was not being listened to, heard, whatever it is. Like, they were just being dismissed. And that's typically what I would think it is. Like, I'm not a counselor or anything like that, but me personally, I would think that child was always calling out for help, but never really got the help that they needed. And whoever was there that was supposed to help them, they never even acknowledged the fact that they were hurting, Yeah.
And do you think I don't feel like, because I do crazy news stories on mine, like crazy news stories, mostly out of Florida, because, I don't know if you've been to Florida. But
yeah.
So,
something happens out of Florida, it's crazy. So
and I don't think we take mental illness like as a real thing in America. Like, I really don't think we like, but we basically like give you a check and then tell you to stay home.
Yeah,
but, like, we don't actually help you with your. Because I remember growing up as a kid, man. You see kids like, it'd be like a random young adult, probably like 20 something. Getting disability check for mental stuff, but like really they just need like some minor help, and they still productive, but they were like, nah, we ain't paying all that money. And they just give them like, $1,000 a month or something. Yeah. And you're like, that's kind of, but they still walking around free, crazy though.
Yeah.
You're like,
something crazy, they're put in jail without any help or real rehabilitation or anything like that, and you're just like you're not getting any meds or whatever it is. So it's kind of like America doesn't really do much.
That scared me more than crime though, because crime is like a motivated thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you got like dope boys selling on somebody else, some other dope boys corner, probably gonna be some conflict there, but it's a dope boy conflict. Still terrible, but it's like an understandable. What's happening,
right?
But you go to downtown Atlanta sometime, bro. That it's this dude, man, that be out there with headphones in, don't be plugged into nothing. He be singing, and you like, I don't feel safe. I don't know what he about to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you like, I don't understand nothing he gonna do. We had a dude, maybe you heard about it.
Okay.
This, well, first off, this dude was named Basil. I
Interesting.
don't, I don't know. But anyway, he was a crackhead and he lived under the bridge with his girlfriend. Another thing, like, he lived under a bridge in Atlanta and he got a girlfriend.
That's
Anyway,
beautiful, actually. Everyone needs love, you know?
it was beautiful until they were smoking crack and they fell asleep and their couch caught on fire and then they caught construction materials and then it burned down the bridge and we didn't have a bridge for like 3 months.
It seems very accidental, you know?
It seemed like they set him up for it, set him up to take the fall, but at the same time, it's like, why do we got like known people that live under a bridge on drugs? Like we got the pandemic hit, and we had enough money to send everybody some money.
Exactly.
Why can't we get him some actual help?
We
Like, or all them under the bridge living. It's like a community.
for it. And on top of that, I don't think a lot of people know that the stimulus check is for everyone, so they could actually get money for it. But are they actually giving it to them? Because honestly, they want them to stay poor, regardless. They don't
How
want
would they get it though? Because they don't have no address. Probably don't have no bank account.
Send it to the homeless shelter. You can do that. You can have them send it to the homeless shelter. I forgot how they said you were supposed to do it, but I know you go down to the office or whatever, and that'll be your address. And I think they can actually get a card that they put the money on, like a little debit card, even if it's not a check or whatever. But they can actually send it to the homeless shelter where they can pick it up.
Well, at least that's something. I don't even know how they would find that out. I mean, I'm indoors. I ain't know that.
Yeah, it was floating around Instagram, but you know, it's Instagram, so it could be true, it could not be true. And honestly, I'm gonna actually go do my research on it again and see like if that's actually a thing. But it should be, regardless, you know.
Like we should be doing something. We can't just be leaving this. You know what I'm saying? Because then you get this underground community, and you don't know what's going on there. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's much better to have everybody like. I want everybody to do good, so then I don't have to really worry about my stuff. So it's like both selfish and I want to help you. But I feel like if you eating, the chance of you stealing from me goes way down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless you're a true thief. You know, if you're a thief, you're just a thief. But like, I don't want you to starve because, you know, it's not good for business. You know what I mean? It's not good for, like, if I'm trying to make money and then nobody got no money, that sucks. That's gonna suck for me eventually, sooner than later. You know what I'm saying? That's why everybody want the economy to be good. That's why everybody should want it to be good, because like it's much better to go to work and then if you don't like your job, find another job real fast and know you stuck there and then you might lose it anyway because the economy sucks. You know what I mean? Like if everybody's doing good, I feel much better about it. Much better about it. Everything.
That is true. I just feel like America just has this blanket over it, making it seem like it's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. But we're so young in this game, and it's ridiculous that we feel like we have it all figured out, but we have like nothing. And we have so many other civilizations, you know, and countries who actually has it figured out and has been in this game since like day one. And we come around talking about like, oh yeah, we got it. We know what to do. No, we don't, because we are struggling right now.
Yeah, we still acting surprised that other races are in America. And I'm like, it was never one race here. What are you talking about? Like, look, like they be tripping on black people like we are here illegally. Like we've been here, bro. Like I ain't never been there.
Y'all brought us here, bro. Like, come on now. We've been here for a minute.
Why are you still surprised?
Man, they still trip on Mexicans too. Like, oh, they just came across the border. No, they've been here.
They've been here. It was always here.
Generations.
Like there's no specific person.
Exactly. They was here before y'all was, and y'all sitting there. That's enough.
Everybody complaining about the people. Nobody complaining about the food though. Because the only reason why we got all the delicious food that we got, you know, Jamaican spot, Vietnamese, Chinese, you know, Mexican, like. That's because of all the different kinds of people. Because like if you go to a place like Germany or like Denmark or whatever, I've been to these places and they it's the same kind of person that so
So it's
y'all
not
all
even.
eating the same food. It's not a lot of variety, you know what I'm saying?
I
So
wouldn't imagine it was, to be honest.
yeah, I mean I lived in Japan 4 years and guess what they got there? Japanese food. And and you can go to McDonald's and get some Japanese McDonald's, but you can't get no, you're trying to go get some Jamaican food or something. That's gonna be a hard thing to do.
See, and I was thinking about going on a separate island somewhere by myself and just chilling away from everybody. And I thought about the food, and I guess I was like, dang,
I
I'm at
will miss that.
yeah, just a little bit. Just
Mixed Nutters, man, go ahead, check her out. Barely Adulting podcast, and do you know when season 2 is coming?
I don't even know, to be honest. I'm still trying to figure it out. So just follow my Instagram page and I'll have all the notifications there. If you keep up with it, you'll find out when it does drop. So right now it's a surprise for me and for you.
And what's your Instagram?
Oh, child. Okay. Hold on. Because all of them is different. I should have been more prepared than this.
That's all good.
So the Instagram is, drum roll please, because it's taking forever just to pop up. I believe is the Barely Adulting podcast, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's just Barely Adulting Pod. So spelling it is BARELYADULTING pod. That's POD. And if you just search it like that, adulting podcast or whatever, Barely Adulting, you should find it. So got a big B on it. Can't miss it.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us here at the Mixed Nuts channel. And man, we definitely gonna have to have you back on.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I love it, especially being on the other side of the interview chair. So
All right, thank you for watching that interview, Mixed Nutters. If you want to support the channel, go to buymeacoffee.com/mixnuts. I'm about to make like a baby and head out. Just remember, we got new videos coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And until next time,